Welcome from a windy Cape Town. Yep, I am sitting here at a private range today, so even the YouTube police will have a lot of fun with me today because everything is above board as usual. Right, so I'm on a private range sitting here. The wind is gusting a little bit. It's gusting a lot actually, and the one interesting thing is the planted trees here actually forms lanes, so the wind picks up speed when they come through the lanes. So even though my little rope indicator here is at 30 degrees, the wind is actually twice as strong as what the wind indicator gives us at this stage. So what am I doing today? Today I've got the Nova Vista Behmoth Bullpup, also known as the Venturi Avenger Bullpup, but I've done a few modifications to the gun. Not really modifications. What I did is I detuned it a little bit. In other words, I brought the regulator down from 100 bar to round about from 180 bar down to 100 bar. And I also decreased some of the tension on the hammer spring itself. The reason for that is that I want to shoot the pellets at around about 840 feet per second. I'll see what the exact speed is now. I'll put it up on the screen as well. And I wanted to increase shot count a little bit. It's got a very small air cylinder, and I want to get maximum usage out of that. My dive cylinder that I fill the gun with can only go to 200 bar, so I can't fill this air cylinder to the maximum 300 bar that's on the specifications. So I need to shoot it down from 200 bars down to 100 bar. Today I'm going to test accuracy at 50 meters or 55 yards, and I'm going to run a couple of scenarios here. So I've got 3 different 16 grain pellets that I'm going to use, of which one is a hunting pellet, and then I've got a couple of 18 grain pellets that I'm also going to shoot. And I just want to check accuracy versus speed with this gun, but more importantly I'm looking for consistency. I'm looking for good groupings at the end of the day. This is a budget friendly gun. Yes, it is a 22 caliber 5.5 millimeter. Yes, you can set this gun up to shoot slugs. That's going to be my next video, by the way. I've got a friend that is an absolute master at tuning these little babies in Kroonstad. I'm going to send them there. Kroonstad PCP, thank you in advance for that. So I'm going to send this gun up. I'm going to set it up for very light slugs, the 22 grain slugs, and see what it's going to do with slugs. But first and foremost, I need to get the utmost best super duper performance out of this on the pellets that I can. I know on 30 meters this little gun is a laser. So let's see what it does at 50 meters. Bearing in mind the wind is gusting, so you'll see a lot of lateral movement on the target up front. But I'm looking for that consistency where there's not a hell of a lot of up and down movement. I'm looking for that consistency when it comes to that. So lateral movement, not worried about. Horizontal movement, that is my worry there. Okay, so let's stop the chit chat. Let's shoot a bit. So how this shooting is going to work today is I'm looking for consistency. So I'm going to shoot 3 10-shot groups per pellet brand. First one up is the Olympia Domes in 15.89 grain. That's not a bad starting group. My point of aim was center of center. The gun is zeroed at 30 meters, so I was expecting it to drop a little bit on 50 meters. And if I look at the scope, I'm at a 12 times magnification currently, and it's shooting about a half a mil dot low. The shooting to the left, that is pure windage. Let's see if I can allow for the proper windage in the next round. That wasn't too bad. I can hold a little bit more for the wind. That was about a half a mil dot at 50 meters, gusting a little bit, and I went a half a mil dot higher. So what I'm going to do now is going to allow a mil dot up and a mil dot sideways for the wind. See if I can shoot that bullet to pieces. Alright, so there was a little bit of inconsistency in the last group, but let's go measure up and let's go and look at the averages. From this perspective, at 50 meters, not too shabby for these 16 grain pellets. Let's go and measure up. This is a quite acceptable grouping. At under an inch on average, that's really nothing to sneeze at. Given the conditions, gusty wind, ever changing, then from the front, then from the side, with the wind changing, this is quite a good grouping. If I put this in perspective, earlier today I shot with a much more expensive gun, the same pellets but at different speeds. And look at this grouping. Now this is just yuck. Versus this grouping from the Nova Vista or Venturi, whatever you want to call it. Massive improvement. Easy to choose which gun I will shoot and at what speed. Next one up, this will be the Polymag Predators. Yes, they don't fit in the magazine, so I have to hand load them. Lekker, let's go. Yo, these Polymags are so light in the wind, they get pushed all over the place. Let me allow some extra for the wind, see if I can get it closer. En daar gaan lê die wind op my. And there the wind dies on me. You bugger wind. Jeez, come on, give me a break. That's not too bad. Let's go and have a closer look. The Polymags are slightly longer than the usual pellet at the same weight. Thus, wind affects it a little bit more, specifically sideways wind. And we could see that quite clearly on that first target, where the height, not too bad, but the wind, absolutely horrific. On the second target, I did allow for the wind, and then all of a sudden the wind died. And I look like the village idiot. Right, target 3, I got everything correct except the height. But at least that is a better grouping, seeing that the wind was pumping a little bit. And that is not bad for the Polymags. There are some excellent pellets to compete with, and that is one of the better groupings, believe it or not. Right, let's shoot the JSBs in 15.89 grain. This is the last one of the lightweight pellets, and then we're going to move on to the 18 grainers. Well, eat your heart out, expensive guns. Ha! Look at that grouping out of this little gun. Ha! Take that. Who needs an expensive gun if you can shoot as accurate as that? My greatness. And the wind is still pumping. Look at that! Look at that! Love this gun. Last round. Oh, there goes my crony. Okay, so one thing that I've noticed is that the quality control on these JSB pellets aren't great. I had to throw about 4 pellets away with bent skirts. There's another example. Flattened by. That's a waste. So these pellets haven't been sorted, not weighed. I'm shooting them out of love. Love this little gun. I can't believe it. I can't believe the accuracy out of this little gun. At just around about $500, entry level, plastic stock, but wow, is it accurate. At 50 meters, that last grouping was just superb. Let's go and measure up and give the verdict on these 16 grainers. Man, that was fun. Yeehaw! that was a very pleasant surprise. Right, so let's go for the little bit heavier babies. They're going to run a little bit slower, 18 grainers, and we're going to start off with the Baracuda Hunters in 18.21. Just a word of thanks for H&N. This is still part of a sponsorship of pellets that they sent to me almost 2 years ago. This is basically the last of them. So H&N, thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys entrusting me with your different pellets and being able to showcase these pellets in real life conditions with real life guns. Alright, so let's rip it. Let's rip it. Damn it, there goes my target. Run, Forrest, run! Oh, now I'm out of breath. I had to go and fetch the target, 50 meters there, 50 meters back. I'm definitely not Usain Bolt. Right, let's see where we are. Alright, that wasn't too bad. The first two shots I didn't see, so I shot another one on another target. But once I got my holdover correct for the wind, they were there. That's a decent grouping. The wind is still bugging me about and I got the holdover wrong, but from a windage perspective that was a lot better. Now that's more compliment to H&N. The build quality of these little pellets are immaculate. Out of that whole tin I didn't get a single bent skirt, so the quality control top notch, and these Baracuda Hunters are just awesome in 5.5. Now for a hunting pellet at 50 meters out of a really entry-level gun, that is totally acceptable. Love it.
I call these my hollow point pellets because they club a dove like you won't believe. Sorry, I'm not laughing about pest control, but it is hilarious when you hear these babies hit something solid. From that perspective, this is a good grouping. The wind pushed me around a little bit. You saw the movement up front in the target, but having a inch grouping or under an inch grouping with a hunting pellet at 50 meters is totally acceptable. Well done, Mr. B&H Baracuda Hunter.
I hope the sound quality on this video is good. The wind is picking up again. It's buzzing in my ears. It is cold. Alright, but I'm gonna keep on shooting regardless. Next up will be the Baracuda 18s. Let's rip them. That was not the pellet's fault. That was just bloody wind. So the moment the wind changes from right to left, it picks up a little bit speed, and then it comes slightly from the front as well. So that affects the height as well, not just the windage, and that's what I experienced there. So a couple of those shots, the wind really pumped really hard, and half of them the wind was half speed. So that is not a true reflection on the pellets nor the gun. That is just Mother Nature telling me, hey boot, hurry up, get home, you've got a wife and kids at home as well. Okay, but I'm here, I need to finish. Let's do this. Wind, play with me, please, play with. Alright, so that was a bit of a rush job. I found a spot in the wind where the wind was actually a bit more constant, and you can see from the results as well, nice grouping. The moment the wind just dies down a little bit, gives me a bit more opportunity to shoot a better grouping and stay constant. You can see the improvement already on the front as well. From that perspective, not too shabby. Let's go measure up quickly.
Man, oh man, this wind can bugger me around. The first grouping, definitely under an inch, except for one little shot there, but that could have been me. The second grouping, in between winds, I've got a very tight group there with 4 shots pulling through that same hole effectively, and then the gusting wind got hold of me, so I've got a second grouping a little bit lower, round about an inch with gusting wind. Happy with that. Last target, round about just over an inch and a half. but very nice, giving the gusting wind and the elements I had to battle in that stage. At an average speed of 825 feet per second, I know these Baracuda 18s love it a little bit faster, around about 850, 870. So even though I wasn't in the sweet spot, I still got decent results.
Sure, alright. The wind conditions has deteriorated to such an extent that I'm not doing the gun, the pellets, nor my ego any good at this stage. But I think this is probably a good exercise still to see how much the wind actually pushes a pellet at 50 meters. How does the shooter need to align himself if you want to go pest control at this distance? Is it safe and humane to do pest control at this distance in wind like this? From what I can see at the targets, I won't chance it. I do not have the confidence in my skills to humanely shoot a pigeon at 50 meters in wind conditions like this, specifically with the changing wind. If the wind was constant, yes, by all means, let it rip. Alright, so let's go over to the last bunch. This will be the JSB Jumbo Heavy Diablos in 18.13 grain. Let's shoot them downrange. Let's see what the wind does with them. Well, that was pretty impressive. The one thing I need to admit is that the wind was quite steady there, strong but steady. That wasn't my best, but I must admit the wind changed again. That's a bit better. I can live with that. I see my camera's battery is flat as well. I've only got 3 rounds left, so I might as well shoot them. Ha! Take that, 13 shots on that target.
You must admit, that's some pretty decent shooting in the weather conditions that I'm currently in. Not to pat myself on the back, but rather let's pat the gun on the barrel, because I think the gun deserves it. This little monster just keeps on producing and surprising me.
Right, is there a winner in the pellets? I don't think so. I think from a pellet perspective, it doesn't matter. The one thing that I can say is that this little gun is surprising me every little day. When initially I got this gun, I thought, oh my greatness, plastic, really now? Can this thing be accurate at all? Well, I had to swallow my words a couple of times. This is probably the best value for money gun that I've ever seen, and that is a bold statement coming from me. Shooting at 50 meters, it is out shooting a 32,000 rand gun. This is a 7,000 rand gun. It is out shooting a gun that is 4 times more expensive. It's out shooting it in consistency, in accuracy, not being pellet fussy. It is just out shooting a much more expensive gun currently. So from this perspective, if I had my choice between this and a much more expensive gun that I shot last week, I'll go with this little Bullpup. Yes, it is plastic, but man, the accuracy just outweighs everything else on that. Value for money? Yes. Final conclusion? I think this is an awesome little gun. The one thing that peeves me off a little bit is that this railing is just for me too high. So my scope mount is extremely high. If you shoot anything close by, you have to overhold like you won't believe. But it gives a very, very nice flat trajectory between 30 and 50 meters. So that's the advantage of that being such a high scope mount. Maybe if we get lower scope mounts, it will be a little bit easier to judge closer distances. But overall, from that perspective, what an awesome little gun. I'm still going to take this one out for hunting. Unfortunately, my scope cam doesn't fit on this scope that I've got, but I'll just exchange scopes in that regard. But from that perspective, as a final word, well done. Hi ho, hi ho, off to the target I go.
Boom, shakalaka laka boom. Boom, shakalaka laka boom.
Peace, bro.
Dun 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 dun.
Hello, ma.
The little gun that thought it could, and it did. The Behemoth, from a price perspective, awesome. probably one of the cheapest guns out there in the market. 2.22 caliber. Yes, it's a little bit plastic. Yes, the cocking lever isn't that smooth, and that's my camera, by the way. But from a pure accuracy point perspective, from a shot count perspective, from a handling perspective, what a beautiful little gun. Easy to accessorize, 1 or 2 things that you need, and you're up and running. So from a starter package, go out, enjoy yourself, bederf yourself, jou rowwe bliksem.
That's all, folks.